Are you able to hear me?
Yes, you are able. You are audible. Fine.
Okay, so should I start? Who's
We are good to go.
all right? Raghulji speaking.
Yes.
All right. Okay, hello, warm good morning to all of you. We are live, and today's session is going to be a very knowledgeable and fruitful one for all of you, as we have with us esteemed guest from legal field, Mr. P.K. Pandeyji, Chief Editor of Law Exam Times, and Mr. Ankit Awasthi Assistant Professor HNLU Raipur. Welcome to the show. Along with them, we also have with us our special guest for this session.
हाँ मना लो भाई सलादी कर लो का कर रहे
Extremely sorry for the interruption. Welcome to the show. Along with them, we also have with us our special guest for this session this morning, Mr. Raghul Sudeshji, eminent lawyer from High Court of Kerala, plus ex-associate editor of legal web portal Bar and Bench and Live Law. Raghulji also holds a very popular background as he has written some of the famous articles and columns, which is a must read for all of you, and have also interviewed famous leading personalities from various legal fields. Welcome to this session, Raghulji.
Thank you.
And now I would like to ask Raghulji to enlighten us with his valuable words upon the topic career in law. Over to you, Raghulji.
Thank you, Amitji, Pandeyji, and Ankitji for inviting me for this event. It's a pleasure to be with Law Exams Times and Mahavir Publications. So I hope I can provide some insights which may be helpful to all of you. I think a majority, all of you are law students, right? Most of you are law students, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
Okay. So, see, I think let me first congratulate you on taking law as a career. I don't think there is any professional bachelor's course which will give you so much of opportunities after completing the degree. You just needn't remain as a lawyer. There are so many other opportunities which you may explore or which you may want to explore. So taking law has been an excellent decision. See, this is not just from something written anywhere. From my own experience, I have worked as a legal journalist. Then I moved to sorry, I think I wasn't audible. Okay. I've started my career as a journalist first, and then I've moved to legal journalism. Moved from legal journalism to independent law practice. So from my own experience, I have been able to do a lot of things with law degree, and so I don't think I could have taken any other better course other than a BA LLB honors degree from the National Law School, Cochin. So coming to the various opportunities, before I come to the various opportunities, one thing I want to tell all of you is that, see, your internships are the most important thing, or which is one of the most important thing which you need to emphasize on while you are in the law school, because internships help you explore all the avenues. I think that for every year there are at least two internship slots for most of the law colleges and the law schools. The Bar Council also has made internships mandatory and all. So, what I've seen from the general trend is, internships are not taken very seriously. Internships are done for the sake of certificates or for sake of the formality. So more than my law lectures that was held in the law school, what has helped me shape my career has been my internships. Not just my regular internships. I had done evening internships with people or online internships with people. So all the internships that I have done in my career had helped me a lot in shaping my career. first and foremost thing that as a law student, what we should emphasize on is, taking your internship seriously. So see, why I stress on this is that, see, you will get to explore every field while you're pursuing an internship, be it a corporate internship with a law in-house company, or a law, or an internship with a law firm. You will get to know the kind of work being done there, kind of things you will have to do when you join there, and all that. So your internships must be taken very seriously. And the second thing is, uh, when you apply to firms or offices for an internship, you just don't have to, you just have to spend more time on your application. That is also very important. See, most of the people say that they don't get internships at good places. Why this happens is that most of the times the applications or covering letters are random copy paste stuff, and even the curriculum vitas are never stressed, and people keep writing CVs in a very unprofessional or a very bad manner. So that is why most of the internship applications get rejected. So when you apply to a firm or a company, or a lawyer, whoever you apply to, you should study their background. You should study what is the kind of work they are doing, what is the kind of work they've done till now, what is the firm into, or what is the person into. You should study that, and your application should show your interest in that field of study, and your keen interest to work with that particular person or that particular company. So if you can make your application tailor made for a company or a lawyer, that will make the internship much easier for you. It will be, the application will be successful depending upon that to a large extent. Then coming to curriculum vitas, I would say that, see, I've done internship application scrutiny for bar and bench and live law and all. See, people write 2 or 4 page CVs and all that. Ideally, CV should be restricted to one or at two at max, not more than that. And you should remove all the irrelevant details from your curriculum vitae, like your date of birth, your marital status, your other things which are not relevant to the application. So when I speak about internships, I would emphasize that you spend much time on your covering letter and your CV, and you study the place where you want to intern and send your application custom made for that place. That will help you a lot in getting the internship application accepted. This is from my own experience. So the thing is that your internship should be very taken very seriously, and that will help you shape your career. For example, how I came to legal journalism was only through my internship. From my second year, I was interning with a website called Answering Law at that point. It is not there now anymore. It was in existence. The person who used to run Answering Law is now the founder of Live Law. We both of us, along with another person called Richa Kachwaha, three of us founded Live Law. Before that, I used to work with this person who ran the website Answering Law from my second year till the end of my law school. Not just answering law, he was also a person who used to write books, like legal commentaries and all. So I used to work with him. Then that actually took me to blogging. So my internship with Answering Law led to me starting a legal blog that was called Script Law. So while in my fourth year, I started volunteering for an organization called Increasing Diversity by Increasing Access, which was helping people from poorer background to get into premium law schools, which have got a very hefty fees and all that. They used to subsidize the fees. So I was volunteering with IDA. I came in close contact with Professor Dr. Shamnath Bashir. He passed away recently, almost 6 months back. He passed away, but he was my mentor figure, and so I started volunteering with Mr. Shamnath Bashir and his venture IDIA. So when my fifth year came, I was searching for jobs. So while I was searching for jobs, I asked him for his advice. What career should I take? I didn't want to go into litigation at that point of time. So he suggested, he had seen my blogs and all. So he suggested me to take up legal journalism as a career. and I applied to bar and bench. So when I applied to bar and bench, I tried following up with them and all, but the response was almost nil. But then one day I called up the editor and got her on live. So I said that I applied and here I've sent my CV, and my reference is Shamnad Bashir. So that actually changed the entire ball game. So she took my application seriously. They called me for an interview, and they asked Professor Bashir also, what kind of a person am I good person to work with and all that. So his recommendation has all helped me a lot into get that opening into bar and bench. So what I'm trying to convey is that the kind of work you during your internships as well as the other time spent at law school will help a lot in shaping your career. So you may be interested in one particular field. So you can go and explore that field with someone who's already into that, or even you can start your own. Suppose you are pursuing an keen interest in something which is a very nascent stage. For example, energy loss. You can start a blog on energy loss and keep on writing about it. If you, I'll give you another classic example of this. There's a person called Jay Satya. He was a NUJ student. Now he's a lawyer and all. So while he was a student at the National University of Juridical Sciences in Kolkata, he had a keen interest on gambling laws. I think right from his first or second year, he started a blog on gambling laws, and it was called G Laws. So by the end of the fifth year at law school, he had become an expert in gambling laws even before he completed his course in law. So he was able to establish a niche area for himself, and the website GLaws was relied upon by experts in the field. And he later merged that website with another venture. So you don't have to wait till law school to start something you like to do. For example, I started my blog while I was in law school. I started pursuing evening internships while I was in law school. So by the time my fifth year came, people in the circle knew me, or people in the circle will know you when you start something right away from law school. So there is a extra effort you need to put. You need to put that extra effort if you want to make a mark. If you just want to pass your LLB and just go out roaming as a lawyer or something like that, you don't have to put that extra effort. But if you really want to make a mark in the profession, you need to put up that extra effort. You need to burn the midnight oil. You need to really, really, really be ahead in terms of the efforts you take. So that was the thing at my law school, and that was how I came into legal journalism. So I started with my career with Bar and Bench, and then I set up Live Law along with Mr. Rashid and Ms. Richa Kachwaha. And later I went separated from them, and I went on to pursue my independent opportunities. I was there in legal writing itself for some more time, but then I wanted to do something more. I wanted to do something more that will create an impact in the society and all that. So I thought of independent practice because I was working around courts for around 6 years as a journalist. I had been covering court news. I've been covering, all that was happening in the Indian legal landscape. So actually, that led to a fascination for court practice, and that is how I ended up, quitting legal journalism and starting my own independent practice. Now, for the last 2 years, I've been practicing in the High Court of Kerala, and I've established a niche area for myself. I've been mostly into writ matters and service matters, and this is the area I focus upon. So now coming back to career opportunities for law graduates, so I would say there are a lot of fields. There is legal journalism as I've done. Then there is service sector which you can focus upon, like insurance companies, oil companies, banking companies, and all other where the posts of legal officers are vacant, and or legal officers are existing. There you can try your luck. Then there are law firms. Then there are companies which will require in-house legal counsels to be their permanent lawyer for their legal matters. You don't have to appear in court, but you'll have to advise the company on all the legal matters. Then there is judicial service. Then there is independent practice. Then there is your career as an academician you can pursue. Then there is civil service. Then there is policy research. There is a lot of policy work that is happening in India right now. Organizations like VIDI, Center for Public Policy Research, are all doing policy research. So these are all the various avenues that you can pursue after law. So what you have to pursue has to be decided by you, and how you will select what you want to pursue will depend upon your internships totally and your taste. I cannot suggest you to take this field or that field. It will depend upon what you want to do. I may like to do policy research, but you may not be liking that. So to know what you like or what you will not like, you will have to explore these fields through internships. So I came to writing because I felt this is what I wanted to do. Then at one point I felt that I want to do something bit more, and then I came to practice. So I would, this is becoming very monotonous. I would like to, take some questions so that I can, come back to with exactly what you would want me to answer.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear.
Sir, my name is Mukul.
Okay, hi Mukul.
Sir, I have sir, one query.
Okay.
That as you said that in your application you mentioned the background of you said the background of the law firm in which you are interested. So how to search the background of the law firm is there? Whatever they are doing, that will be mentioned in their website. But what other all things I can search about the background that they are doing in which field, mean criminology or maybe civil cases in that.
See.
So one thing I want to know in this background. And sir, second question is that, sir, as you said that you cannot suggest that in which particular field you can go. So my my question is that, sir, as you see, sir, that in like an example, I can give you example that in IT sector you can see now everything is coming on online. So everything is coming online. So we can see that there is a huge scope and growth is there in this online sector. So in legal sector, there are different sectors are there. If I talk about cyber laws, particularly intellectual property right, particularly, you can see there are things. So I just wanted to know which area particularly having the higher growth. So where opportunities will be more. So this is I want to know where I can start my career. So where opportunities will be more. So these two questions, please, sir, guide me.
Okay. See, coming to background. See, now we have websites like Bar and Bench and Live Law, which are serving the law field, completely. They are exclusively serving law field. So, especially in Bar and Bench, if you are aiming at firms and corporate, you will get to know the work they are doing. For example, if a firm has done a transaction deal, that will be reported in Bar and Bench. So if you know, maybe you are applying to Ketan, they have recently worked on a deal with Flipkart. I'm just suggesting. I'm not saying that they have worked on Flipkart. So suppose Ketan has worked on Flipkart deal and this particular partner has worked on that deal. You can write to that partner and say that I've been following your work. You can mention about the transaction he has done for Flipkart and all that. So basically, the idea is to follow the legal websites like Live Law and Bar and Bench, and then India Legal and all these websites. So you will get to know the kind of work they are doing. Now, coming to your second question on what area that you would choose with a high growth. So I think there are a lot of areas which has got huge potential. So even in this, especially in this COVID times, this cyber law and all is one emerging sector. Then IPR is there. Then taxation is a very important sector. So all these are sectors with high growth potential. Even if you take the case of not the old sectors like service law and all that, I don't know if you've got a service tribunal at your state. 1/3 of the cases reported in Supreme Court are for service law. So even that is a sector with a lot of potential. So I think all the sectors like cyber law, taxation, IPR, and all has got huge potential. And you may try out internships with firms specializing in these, and probably then you'll be able to know whether which is the best one for you.
Right, sir.
Thank you. Any
Hello.
Yes.
Rakulji, here are a few questions from our students which they are keen to, they are interested to know from you. Here are the questions. Firstly, what are the opportunities which as a legal professional you would like to specify to our dear students in case of in regards to our legal field? What are those opportunities which this legal zone gives us?
But can you come again? It's not clear. What are the opportunities?
What are the opportunities which, as a legal professional, you would like to suggest us
Okay,
in
suggest.
terms of our career? Yeah.
I had told this earlier. This is not. It's not very easy for me to suggest something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think your voice is breaking.
And say that specifically they are interested to know actually. Continuous comments are coming.
Okay. See, I'll tell you that it will depend upon a lot of factors. See, many of the students who come to law schools may have to pay huge fees, and they'll have to pay off their loans and all that. So if the money is a priority, then there are sectors which you need to go. Like firms and corporate jobs will ensure that you have a steady flow of cash, so you can pay off your loans and other things, and then take a break and come to practice and all that. So this will be a very personal thing. So it will depend upon what is your requirements and all that. So, but still, I would still believe that, see, from what I've seen and from what I've explored, the most interesting or the most challenging profession that a law graduate can do is to be a practitioner. Every day is a new challenge. Every day you have a new case. Every day you will have to deal with new issues. So that is actually a kind of very challenging and good experience as far as I am concerned. I feel I am able to learn a lot of new things. I'm able to learn to deal with new issues, new problems. So all these are things only a lawyer will be able to experience. Whether most of the law firms and the in-house counsel jobs, you may be doing the same kind of work again and again. Even be that with other options. But when it comes to a lawyer, every day is a new case and every day is a new challenge. So you will have to, learn new things. You'll have to learn to adapt and all that. And coming to there's a popular myth that a legal profession doesn't pay well. I mean, the independent practice. So this is true to an extent. Most of the seniors, they have an issue with paying their juniors, and I've written on this. You can Google the article. It's called "The Amazon Delivery Boy Who Could Not Come to the Court." It's true to a large extent.
Yeah.
So the problem is, see, you don't see, if you plan your career in such a way that you don't have to depend upon others to work, then I don't think you'll have to face this. See, the problem is people think of what to do only after the 5 years in law school. At all the 5 years, they will dilly-dally and they will not plan their career. This is a problem. So right from your first year, if you can focus on building a career for you, if you can focus on building your network, so by the time you come out of law school, you will have a good network, and you'll be able to start making money. I'm not saying this from a utopian situation. I've seen people doing that. I've told you examples of Jay Satya. If you take the case of I pleaders Ramanuj, he was also doing clat hackers and many other things while in law school, and they were making money. So you should, you should build your brand while you are in law school, and then come out of the law school. By the time you come out of the law school, you should be a familiar face in the network. So I think I lost the connection. Payalji, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Abhijit. So we stopped at what are the career options? Okay. So it depends upon what you would do. But for me, the best part is being a lawyer and representing clients and people in courts and getting them relief. That has been the most exciting part for me. So I think you should explore practice before going to something else. You can maybe probably rather than doing an LLM, probably you can practice for 1 or 2 years and see how it goes. So I've written on how to establish an independent practice in bar and bench. So I'll share the link with all of you once the session is over. I will ask Amitji to mail all of you. So can we go to the next question?
Ask the next question.
Yeah. There's a lot of network issues which we are facing right now.
Yeah, I think I lost my connection.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption again. Here's another question which is coming, which by most of the students.
Yeah.
That is there any mantra to revise CPC or to learn CPC, the orders and sections particularly, how to memorize those?
Okay. I don't think there is a mantra for that, and I don't think I can help with that.
Specifically, they are actually mentioning the mantra regarding what is the exact mantra to memorize orders and sections of CPC or CRPC whatsoever.
I don't think there is a specific mantra for that, but I'll tell you what helped me was that, see, CPC was handled by a judge for my class. A sitting judge of the High
Okay.
Court was handling the CPC classes. So prior to becoming a judge, he was a practitioner and he was into civil litigation and he was an expert in CPC. So all the practical experiences that he could share as a academic practitioner has helped in studying CPC. So what this is one thing that maybe law schools or law colleges should stress upon, to bring in academic practitioners to law schools. So to bring in practitioners who want to teach, they may be brought as part-time or guest lecturers, so that the students get a practical perspective. For us in law school, we had many practitioners coming to law school and teaching us. That had helped a lot of, because more than the academicians, I think practitioners have helped in understanding a subject much easier manner. So that is see, now there are a lot of bloggers also explaining all these topics, CPC and CRPC. There is a group called Law Students in India on Facebook. I run that group. More than 25,000 students are there in the group. So a lot of posts keep coming in the group. It's mostly about explaining various subjects in CPC, CRPC, and other law subjects. Maybe if you can join the group and explore the post there, you will be able to understand in a better manner. There are a lot of bloggers and bloggers doing blogging about CPC and CRPC and other law subjects. You can explore that on YouTube and in the Facebook group.
Raghulji, My next question is, according to you, what is that particular subject which you would like to put your stress upon for the students to focus on?
Okay, okay. Firstly, that would be jurisprudence.
Jurisprudence.
I know that.
Too theoretical, actually.
So everybody finds that a very boring subject, but actually that is a fundamental. And if you learn jurisprudence in a thorough manner, you will understand the reasoning behind the laws and why it came and why it is in existence and all that. So jurisprudence and constitutional law, both of these were my favorite subjects. So I think these are the two most important subjects that you will have to stress in law school. Both are equally important, and I think you should stress on these subjects while you're in law school.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, Ankit, tell me.
इसमें जो आ रहे हैं चैट बॉक्स में ना,
Yes.
चैट बॉक्स में जो आ रहे हैं ना,
Okay.
ठीक है, ओके ओके ओके
Okay, I'm a student of law. How we should prepare for both law semester exams as well as judicial
Judicial
service.
service.
Okay, this is a very tricky question. I'll tell you, because I personally object to the view that fresh law graduates should be allowed to write, the municipal magistrate exams immediately. Because see, this is a problem with the legal education also. What we learn as theory in law school is different from the law in actions in courts and the courts and the other judicial institutions. So, what I would suggest is, rather than, even if you learn to study, or prepare for the judicial service and the semester exams, and go into judicial service immediately after graduation, how much ever training the judicial academy gives you, it will be tough for you to face the judicial system. So what I would ideally suggest is to complete your law graduation, take a 1 year or 2 year stint at practice, and learn how the procedural law works, both in the CPC as well as the CRPC, and how the judicial system works, and spend those 2 years of practice to prepare for your judicial service examination. So that will give you a better understanding, or better, better, you can prepare better for your judicial service once you see the practical side of law. So ideally, I would suggest you to take a 1 year or 2 year break and practice, and then prepare your for your judicial service examination along with practice. And the second question that is there over here is, I would like to know career options for later age group. Like, I am 38 years and in second year of law. What are the options? So probably I think you will have problems with going for government jobs as well as for law firms and in-house counsel jobs. So I think there are two options in front of you. One is to go for independent practice, and other is to go for academics. Or then for policy research is also an equally good option. But I would still suggest you to take up independent practice. Now you are in your second year. I think you will have one more year for your law course to be completed. So ideally, I would suggest you to do evening internships or online internships with lawyers, and help them assist in preparing briefs, drafts, and preparing research notes and all that. And probably you will get to know a bit of drafting and the procedure and all that, and that will help you to know whether you will be interested or you will be able to take up independent practice. So that is one thing you can take up.
Rahul ji,
Yes.
Ankit sir is also with us now.
Okay.
So we also want to hear some of the queries solved by him.
Sure.
Ankit ji.
जी अमित जी, I'm
you are
audible?
live. Yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards Amit ji and Payal ji, and I am thankful to Rahul Sudesh ji also, because one of the most tricky aspects as far as the career is concerned. So it's very difficult actually to reply the question, because ultimately it depends on one experience. Whatever you can say, person is supposed to experience his own field. But when we are supposed to come as a career counselor, obviously we have to reply. So in a very, what I have observed, Rahul ji was in a very sincere manner, was trying to attempt each and every question with utmost sincerity. But at the end of the day, it will depend on individual only, the preparation. As one question which was asked by a person, that later age group. So as such, sir, I would like to mention there is no concept of later age group. One case that has been filed in the Supreme Court of India on this issue only, when that rule came ki after 45 year of age, a person will not be entitled to do a practice, that has been curtailed down. So in the field of the law, there is nothing like ki after this age you cannot join the practice. So n number of opportunities are there, whether you join the profession at early age group or after that particular specific age, which we consider like 35 years, because of in that age group specifically, government job opportunities are not that much, which are supposed to be. But as Rahulji was highlighting regarding the legal journalism, regarding the independent practice, regarding the assistance which is required to be given to the firms, to the lawyers, so these are always available.
Yeah, Ankit ji.
And apart from that one, this particular question regarding the subjects and the preparation. So I also agree with the Rahul ji that right from the very beginning itself, first year itself, and the subject which he mentioned, jurisprudence, actually that is the base of the law stream. And most of the time, students are supposed to feel that this is so much theoretical and that is not have that much relevance in you can say corporate firms or the job opportunities. But I would like to clarify that that is the foundation stone. It talks about the concepts, and until and unless the concepts are not clear, the career development will always be a myth. So right from the beginning itself, all the subjects are required to be taken very seriously and complete. When you say like integrate course, that is of 5 year. When you say of 3 year course, that is of 3 year. So all years are required to be dedicated totally towards the understanding of the subject. And as far as the judicial preparation is concerned and the preparation of any other competitive examination is concerned, so as per my you can say experience, I would like to say that in the final year of the concerned stream, like if you are in a third year, then third year would be the best one. And if you are in a 5 year course, then fifth year would be the best one as far as GS or aptitude or attitude regarding aspects are concerned. Because that we have seen the trend also nowadays, that just after clearing the consent course, n number of candidates are clearing the judicial services examination. So right now they are not waiting ki, like one they have to clear, then you can say again they have to go for the coaching classes, then again they have to appear for the examination. People are clearing that one. So it's not that much we will say difficult or hard task to go for the again classes to revise again. But best strategy would be to focus on the core subjects which are going to come in the judicial service examination or the competitive examination. Plus, in the last year of the consent course, focus on other subjects like GS or GK or attitude or aptitude or quantitative measures. So, in short, all these cumulative efforts will help to achieve the target.
Thank you, Ankit ji.
Thank you, Mr.
Raghul ji, in our side, our part of India, the student have preferably choose 3 options. One is judicial services, second is practical practice, and third one is by doing LLM they went into teaching line.
Okay.
So they want to know what are the other aspects they may choose.
Oh, other than teaching, practice, and judiciary.
Yeah.
So other aspects is that the law firms are there. Then there are corporate companies which will recruit, law graduates as their in-house counsels. Then there is policy research. there are a lot of think tanks now existing in the country, and they are into research and analysis. So policy research, corporate law, corporate firms, then law firms, then legal journalism, because all the newspapers are now hiring, journalists with law background to cover court beats. So, legal journalism, law firms, in-house counsels, policy research. These are, four other alternate avenues which they can possibly explore, and probably they can also pursue internships in these fields and decide what is best for them.
Can you guide also where they may take higher study for IPR and corporate law?
See, you should identify firms which are doing these kind of work. So, if you or you can identify people who are doing these kind of work, because many of the firms are full service law firms which will have practice area in almost every subject. So ideally, you identify the person in that firm and apply to him that you want to work with this partner on this subject, or with that particular person. So, for that you'll have to follow bar and bench and live law and see who's doing what, or which firm is doing what work. That will help to get an exposure or an experience in that field.
Ayal?
Yeah. Angit ji, are you there?
Yes. All are there. Please.
All are there. Angit ji, I would like to ask you that how to do public welfare with law?
Thank you, ma'am, for asking the question. Actually, nowadays, when we talk about the service itself, whether that is the academician's point of view in a government job, or when you talk about administrative services, these all include public service within the core itself. Like you take the example, in India, when you talk about the legal services in the constitution itself, that is not given as an entry. It comes in the purview of education only. And when you talk about the legal education, then further lists which are given in the concurrent one, they are required to be read together. So when you talk about the practical aspect of the same one, these are inherited in the concerned profession itself. Like when you talk about the judiciary, so Judicial Act is not supposed to be purely from the mechanical sense. It should be from the public welfareism point of view also. I try to explain the same one in a very simplest manner. When you talk about article number 32, which is there in the Constitution of India, which talks about the remedies, constitutional remedies which are there. So in that respect, writs are supposed to be filed. Raghulji is having a more practical experience in that one, and he can further corroborate my points. So my point here is that one, writs are supposed to be filed. But suppose if individuals or the group or the people are not having enough means to file writ petitions, whether they are supposed to be deprived from having their right enforced, answer would be no. So how this particular no is supposed to be addressed? That has been addressed in the name of, you can say, court of the law, by taking the epistolary jurisdiction, where they have considered a simple letter which is written, and they have converted the same into the writ petition, because that is their task. As you have mentioned about the public, you can say, service or the public welfare, that is the task of the judicial authorities to deal that one in that manner. In the same sense, if you talk about the CPC, one student was asking, there is a point of the appointment of commissions. So they are supposed to go, they are supposed to collect the evidences as far as the cases are concerned. Now, when I talk about the academicians or the lawyers, obviously their complete life is in the society itself. Now, when we talk about creating awareness to make people, you can say, enlightened about their rights, about their duties. So all these are the parts of the public welfare and the public service only. Again, example I can give, like suppose in the case of land acquisition, how much you can say the compensation or the rehabilitation grant individual is entitled to have, for that they are supposed to claim to the government, from where they are supposed to come to know. Obviously through the public authorities, by the, you can say, advocacy. So these are the concepts which are required to be applied at the same point of time when you are in any profession. So So whatever the profession it may be, like we are talking about the career avenues or the opportunities, I would like to make one general statement in that sense. Whatever the career avenue it would be from in that one, the public welfare or the public service would be the core part of the same. Even the Advocates Act, if you refer 1961, or the Bar Council of India rules also, if you refer, they talks about the same one, public welfareism and the public service. Even the senior advocate's duty is there, specifically mentioned, if I'm not wrong, in the Bar Council of India to assist the new entrants. It's the duty of the senior advocates to help, to assist, to train them, so that they are also supposed to be the part and parcel of justice delivery system. So when I talk about the judicial, you can say administrative system, when I talk about the academician's point of view, when I talk about the plain practice or the plain advocacy point of view, in all the areas that is involved. And even nowadays, when you talk about the legal education itself, in legal education, there is a concept of continuing legal education and clinical legal aid or the legal aid. So there also this particular aspect comes, public welfare and the public service, where the students are not only supposed to go through the theory, but they are also supposed to know the practice and apply the same in the field. Again, we can take the example. Suppose if there is a case of, you can say, sexual harassment, or there is a case of domestic violence. So they are not supposed to be only, you can say, in the name of sections or in the name of paper, but they are supposed to go in the nearby, you can say, places. They are supposed to create awareness. They are supposed to come to know whether actually the law they know or not. If they know, then what are the, you can say, more options that they have as far as their rights protection is concerned. And if they don't know, it's their duty, like students point of view, teachers point of view, advocates point of view, is to make them understand that these are the rights which are supposed to be enforced. Even you can, and number of points I can cite, like Legal Services Authorities Act 1987 also talk about the same one. Lok Adalats also talk about the same one. Mobile courts also talk about the same one. So it's some, you can say, like the Constitution of India itself, from government point of view, it talks about the welfareism and law as an instrument to ensure the same. So obviously the legal professionals are supposed to deal with the public service and the public welfare.
Okay. Very informative, Ankit ji. Raghul ji, would you also like to highlight a few points upon public welfare with law?
Okay. So before that, see, I'll have to leave in a few more minutes. So
Okay.
I've given my email address and my WhatsApp number on the chat. So if anyone want to reach out, you can reach out. So coming to public welfare and law, so as Ankit was rightly pointing out, I think I can add only very little to whatever he has said. See, this is a field where you can do something. You can do something to bring in a change in the society. So as a lawyer, there are a lot of people who are facing legal issues and legal problems. See, I would like to say that all these governments are the people who indulge in the maximum number of legal violations. So all these matters, people will have some grievance against the government, and the only remedy before them is to come before the constitutional courts under Article 32 or 226. Or even otherwise, there are people who will have legal issues. So what I would suggest is that you can play a bit of Robin Hood. You can cash more from the rich people and do some service for the free poorer people. What I meant is that, see, there are a lot of people who would require legal assistance or legal aid. So as a lawyer, it is your duty and responsibility to appear for those who are needy of legal justice, and render pro bono services to them, and probably you will be compensated by the richer clients you will be appearing for. That's what most of the lawyers do. So I would suggest that you should consider taking up legal aid very seriously in the initial years of your career. That may also help you to establish a good name and reputation among the members in your locality or in your city also. So even when you become a senior, you should render legal aid or service, pro bono services to people who are needy. That's your constitutional. That's a constitutional mandate. and you should keep up the obligation to the society. So I think Ankit ji has covered all the other aspects. So this is all that I have to say.
Sir, Rahul ji, recently I attended one session. In that one professor, I just tried to recollect the name, but as of now, I'm not in a position. But what he mentioned that I would like to mention here, that he is having a goal of setting 100 clinical aid centers in India.
Okay.
I'm talking about the Jindal University, which is one of the, you can say, finest private university,
Yeah.
and making the mark at the international level also. So these types of, you can say, ambitious goals are required at individual level. Then they are supposed to be, you can say, supported by the institution, then the nation. Then only the true, you can say, purpose of the law is supposed to be achieved.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, your observations are spot on. In fact, if you look into the legislation that created the National Law School of India University,
Yes,
aim of establishing the National Law School of India University to was to help to play a role in the development of the nation. That is
definitely,
very clearly mentioned in the statute.
definitely.
We have to self-introspect how much the law schools in the country have been able to contribute to the growth of law or the growth of a nation. But that was one of the foremost aims of creating the law schools across the country.
True, true. So diversity is the issue which is required to be addressed.
Absolutely, LPG, absolutely. There is a lot of requirement for that. And I think the organization IDIA, increasing
Yes,
diversity by increasing access, is working on the right front
right,
for that.
right.
Raghuji, will you be able to answer to those queries further, or
I can
should
take maybe
I?
one or two questions more.
All right.
ओए लिंक कहाँ है लिंक बता
Raghuji, would you like to highlight some, or would you like to throw some light upon LPO industry, future on LPO industry?
So LPO industry, I think there are some LPOs in the country, and they are giving a good pay scale also. So I think if in the initial years of your career, your money is an important factor for you, and you want to sustain for yourself immediately. I think LPOs can be given a shot, but otherwise, I wouldn't suggest someone to go into the LPO sector. So that is personally I'm against it. I don't know how much is the growth you can attain in a LPO. I'm doubtful about that. But if money is the only thing, you can take up that. But otherwise, I wouldn't suggest to taking up LPO job.
ये
I'm against it.
क्या करो ना पगलेट उसमें मम्मी के बारे में देख रही थी अभी तू
Hello,
Yeah.
Another question. Hello.
Yeah.
sir. I have a
Yeah.
question.
नहीं
Actually, sir, I'm highly attracted to judicial services, but the issue is I'm not able to decide the particular state in which it is easier to clear judicial service exam.
See,
हट तो देखो लौट गया अभी
that's a good question. See, I don't think almost this syllabus is common for many of the states, and I think you don't focus on one state. You focus. If you go to Delhi, there are a lot of good, coaching centers and all that. See, if you focus on judicial service and prepare for these multiple ones, I think you will be able to get into it rather than keeping a focus on one, or rather than keeping a focus on the easier one. Or there is nothing like that. So I think you keep preparing for the multiple ones, and I'm sure you'll be able to crack it.
Thank you, sir.
I just reminded one, you can say, movie on this particular question. Rahul ji, if you allowed me.
Yeah, sure,
I
sure.
think the participant must have watched the movie Bhag Milka Bhag. Bhag Milka Bhag.
Yeah.
So the issue is not, you can say, whether you want to participate in Commonwealth or you can say Rio Olympic or the National Wealth Games. The issue is that one, whether you have achieved that potential or that you can see the commitment level or not. Because state judicial services examinations, the nomenclature and little bit you can say examination pattern is different. Otherwise, you can say more or less things are the same one. So once you have to prepare yourself for the judicial services examination, and I think all prudent man will suggest you to you can say take the choice as far as the geographical you can say limitations is concerned, and second one is language, and you can crack the examination. So as of now, you don't have to think which state I have to apply, but right now the relevant question would be is to what you have to you can say mug up, what you have to go through, which is going to be asked in the competitive examination.
Okay, sir.
Any more questions from the students?
Yeah, student can raise their hand.
Yeah, they can raise their hands.
Yeah, so then we can unmute them.
And Rahul ji was, you can say, very rightly pointing out each and every career opportunities. Even you can say 20, 25 years back, if we try to see, there was only one option, and that was advocacy. And how much you can say success you will get, that will ultimately depend on n number of factors. On public platform, I think it is not apt to quote the factors which are required to help. But right now, you can say n number of opportunities are there. So only the thing, you have to understand the law, you have to understand the competitive, you can say, examination pattern, plus the internship that you have to take very seriously, as Rahul ji was, you can say, very rightly in the beginning itself highlighted.
Can we call it a day, I think?
Good.
Hello.
Payal, we can hear you. More questions are there?
Yeah, few more are there, but should I put forward?
Please ask Raghul ji, because he had some.
I am paucity of time actually. Raghul ji, what is that particular strategy which you would like to highlight regarding clearing of this competitive examinations? Not only particularly in legal competitive examinations, but in other sectors even.
Okay. See, from what my from what my friends have told me, or from what I've seen from them, is it's mostly consistency in your preparations. Consistency in your preparations matters a lot. It doesn't matter if you study continuously for 10 days and then go dilly-dallying of that. So even if you study for 1 hour daily, the consistency is needed in your preparation. So that is the mantra, I think, to cracking competitive examination. Consistent preparations for the for the entire thing will help to crack these examinations. That's what I've seen from people who have cracked civil services as well as the judicial services. They have been consistent with their performance in their preparations.
Okay, another question which is coming up is there any future of legal journalism?
Absolutely. See, it's a very emerging sector. In 2011, when I started it, it was very nascent stage. Now it's a very, something with a very high potential, because all the, including Supreme Court, many of the high courts in the country have mandated that law degree is a must for a person to be designated as a court reporter. So for law graduates, so this is a very emerging sector. See, if you take the case of the newspapers, more than 50% of the news is connected to law. Some way or the other, 50% of the news is connected to law. So there is a high potential for people with law graduates and who want to pursue journalism. I think you should seriously think about that, and probably starting with a blog or writing for websites can be the first thing to do. So there is definitely a high potential career choice.
Okay. So Ankit ji, we will like to continue the session with you. But before that, I would like to thank Raghul ji for sparing your valuable time with us amidst of this pandemic, which has made all of us quite negative. So thank you for showing light upon how one should plan his career in law. Thank you so much.
Raghulji, thank you once again. Raghulji and I met on in 2013 when I went to Kerala, and we come in connection through Facebook, and then I met him personally, and since then he is quite a close friend of mine. And from getting connected with him, I got also motivated, and I was also a law student, so I choose law career as a law publisher. So this is also one of the aspect which one can choose. Ragulji, thank you for accepting our invitation to take this session. Thank you once again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope to connect with all of you sometime later.
Okay,
Thank you, Ragulji.
Ankit ji, should we continue? Amit ji,
Yeah,
over to
sure.
you.
Surely, there is one more information. We have first informed that Dr. Pandey will also be with us, but due to some very important reasons, he is not present in today's session. So I also informed the students and all of our viewers who are watching this program to mail us any queries. We will definitely going to answer through mail, because Pandey ji is stuck in different location, so he will not able to join the session. Payal, you may continue from asking from our other expert, Sri Ankit ji.
Yeah. Ankit ji, another question which is coming up is, there are various career opportunities. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. There are various career opportunities, but there is a problem that how these career information should be disseminated to the law students.
Okay. Now, as far as this question is concerned, in the age of IT revolution, now comparatively, it's very easier to get the information. And I would like to suggest various websites are there which you can just refer to have the information, like Loctopus, which you can cite. Rahul ji was, you can say, emphasizing on Live Law. That is one of the, you can say, one of the best sites in India when you talk about the information. About apart from that one, legal services in India, for that one, Advocate Khoj. In that name, one website is there. Or even if you try to just type on Google regarding the, you can say, information in the field of the law, when you talk about the career, when you talk about the seminars, conferences, workshops, and nowadays that is the webinar that is going on in this current age of, you can say, pandemic. So we have to thank to the technology itself that we are still connected. So right now it's not, you can say, that much problematic to know about the information. Enough information is there, I will say. Enough, you can say, WhatsApp groups and the Telegrams groups are there. But at the same point of time, I would like to mention that it is important to filter the information. Issue is not to have information, the issue is to filter the information, that what information is required to have. So obviously when you are preparing for the judicial examination, the information regarding the corporate law is not that much relevant for you at the initial level. But if you are preparing for the corporate law, then obviously the corporate regarding news are so much relevant for you. So it's something which is a very, very subjective one, and ultimately you have to focus on the area. Accordingly, you have to select the information and you have to use that particular information for your career development point of view.
Okay. Ankit ji, in small, similar to small town like Dibrugarh, there is not that much opportunity which this small areas particularly gives us in regards to legal field. So as per you, according to you, what are those opportunities one should grab up in this particular small zones?
Ma'am, as the information which is, you can say, we are already aware, and number of opportunities are there. But as far as that you have mentioned about the area wise, I will take that one as geographical limitations. So when the geographical limitations are there, we have to think about the IT. IT is a field where there is no geographical limitation. Like whatever the work we do online, that is supposed to have reach in more than 100 countries. So by that one, we are supposed to defeat that geographical limitations. Like we can be a good, you can say, blog writers. They are earning, you can say, enough money. We can write articles. We can write books also. By that one, we are supposed to get the royalty. And apart from that, there is always scope for the advocacy as well as the welfare aspects. Those who are interested in that one. Apart from that one, policy think tanks. There they can work. So each and everything nowadays very, I will say comparatively in a easy manner, available online only. So even it's not required to go in the, you can say, outside in the field. Just the thing that is required is to have a good network connectivity, the subscription to e-resources, and by that one we are supposed to have the knowledge which is required to be used for career development. And apart from that, when we talk about the you can say service examinations, so obviously you can say 80 to 90% things are already available. The only thing is to go through the same. N number of you can say pro bono, you can say individuals, you can say institutions, you can say those who are offering their services even free of cost. Like even if you go through the YouTube, N number of educational institutes are having, you can say, their subject wise courses available. Even if we talk about the national universities, also central universities, also they came with MOOC courses, MOOC courses, massive open online courses. So things are available. The only thing that is needed at this point of time is to utilize the time in a very sincere and committed manner, so that that can help us for future development point of view.
Okay. One of our friends wants to know that he wants to serve the society by way of legal aid. So what would you like to suggest, and what one should do in this regards in terms of serving the society through legal aid?
Actually, the answer of this particular question is manifold, and it will depend on
Okay.
individual, you can say, ability, sincerity, and the commitment, you can say, which is required to be reflected in the society. Like from individual
Yeah.
level, also person can contribute as far as the legal aid is concerned. Even if you talk about the advocates, they are also required to work in the name of amicus curiae, means the friends of the court.
Mm.
It simply means those who are not having enough means, like they cannot engage the lawyers. That doesn't mean that they are supposed to be away from the judicial system. So in that respect, they are supposed to assist them. Now, second thing, even if an individual is not a practicing lawyer, and if having the knowledge of law as a citizen, as a sincere citizen, so they are supposed to create awareness. They can go to, you can say, nearby places or to the localities where the peoples are not that much aware about the law. So there they can have the sessions. There they can create awareness. They can, you can say, enlighten them with respect to their rights, with respect to their duties. So this is also the way. Third way, if you say, so they can write articles about the same one. They can write in the newspapers also. Through that also they can create awareness. Fourth option is that when they can engage in the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, if you say, so they can give their services there also as volunteers. So by that also that can be done. So there are a number of ways when you talk about the legal services. Fifth way is that when you talk about the legal aids or the lok adalats, when they are supposed to be organized, then they are supposed to work there as volunteers or as the friends of the courts. So like endless opportunities are there when they can actually serve the society in a true manner.
Okay. Ankit, can one resolve his through Lok Adalat? Another question. They are interested to know.
About lok adalats.
Yeah, how one can resolve their legal problems through Lok Adalat.
Ma'am, lok adalat is basically governed through, as the name itself, lok means public. Lok means public and adalat means simply court. So basically that concept came from the Legal Services Authorities Act 1987. And according to that one, there is authority at central level, state level, taluka level. So they are supposed to organize the lok adalats, and in that one, the judicial officers as well as other members are supposed to take the participate in that one. So actually that come from the grassroots democracy point of view. If you talk about the Mahatma Gandhi, you can say vision also, that Sarvodaya, if you talk. So Sarvodaya is not only from the you can say administrative reforms point of view, that should be from the judicial reforms point of view. That at the local level, if you can get your dispute resolved, then that is the best option. Why we have to travel, you can say, far distance, you can say, from state high court's point of view, or the center, you can say, New Delhi point of view, if that can be resolved. So from that, you can say, very approach, from that very notion only, the Lok Adalats came into picture. They are supposed to be notified, and where the listed, you can say, issues are supposed to be resolved. Even if you talk about the Rajasthan, I would like to mention that there's a concept of mobile courts also started. You can say long back. Mobile court simply means movable courts, movable. So when you talk about the justice at your door, like you don't have to run for the justice, but justice is supposed to reach to you at your doorstep. So these are the notions which have been applied when you talk about the Lok Adalat. And in one line, if I have to say, these are because to make access the justice. So that should be accessible justice in the reach of the people, in the reach of the public. So these are the concepts interconnected with the same. Complete statutory details are there in Legal Services Authorities Act 1987.
Okay, Ankitji. Is there any particular newspaper or a journal which one should focus upon for preparation of judiciary or other competitive examinations? Other competitive examination as in law, means legally.
I have been associated with Amit ji long back, and the reason for the association was the commitment as well as the quality of the work which he used to put. I think Amit ji, we have the association long, I think near to 10 years.
Yeah.
Near to 10 years. I was.
It has been almost 8 years or so.
Yeah.
We are connected through internet also.
Yes, internet also, and
magazine.
Through magazine only. That is the Law Times, you can say. So I would like to recommend that only.
Law Exam Times.
Yes, Law Exam Times, because you can say enough coverage that is there. And more or less, if you see other, you can say magazines also, so that they are also supposed to cover the similar coverage. So it's not the point. Point is that one you have to be committed, and only a single. I will not say you must have this much stock of 4 or 5 magazines or 4 or 5 newspapers. Reason is that one, they are supposed to cover. They are not supposed to create something new. Things are the same. These are the facts and the events only. Dates, facts, events, content. So only the point is that one you have to refer maximum 1 or 2. If I say about the magazines or the newspaper, and from that only you have to make your own notes, study notes. That will actually help you, because when you try to go through the books, newspapers or magazines at the time of examination, then that will not help you that much. So from the preparation strategy point of view, you are supposed to refer, as I suggested, Law Exam Times you can refer. That is one of the best, which even I am, you can say, using to update myself. And apart from that, from newspapers point of view, if you try to go through, then you can refer The Hindu. That is one of the good one paper. And from editorial point of view, even I actually like. And Hindi medium, you can say, those who are students, they can refer Pratyogta Darpan and Dainik Jagran. These 2 things I would like to mention.
Thank you, Ankit ji. I think we have. I'll do any. There is any one question.
Amit ji, I would like to take this opportunity to suggest you also that we should have to come with some you can say Hindi magazine also.
Yeah, ये पूरे नोट ज्यादातर हिंदी पढ़ने वाले हैं, और
जी जी
इस सेक्टर में इंटरनेट में भी कोई खास काम नहीं हुआ है. सो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के स्टूडेंट इस चीज को देख रहे हैं. नॉर्थ ईस्ट वाले अपने में भी शुरू कर सकते हैं, और नॉर्थ इंडिया वाले इंटरनेट में हिंदी में काफी कुछ काम कर सकते हैं. उसके लिए बहुत सारी अपॉर्चुनिटी अवेलेबल है. यही कहना है ना अंकित जी आप?
जी क्योंकि अभी जो रिसेंट में आपका ड्राफ्ट नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है 2019 की, उसमें भी मल्टीलिंगुअल एजुकेशन पे जोर दिया गया है. मल्टीलिंगुअल और लीगल एजुकेशन की भी बात करें अगर, तो बीसीआई का भी एम्फेसिस इसी चीज को लेकर है कि लॉ की स्टडी जितनी भी हो रही है इंडिया में, हाईली कंसंट्रेटेड एंड द फोकस्ड ऑन इंग्लिश. So basically that is depriving, you can say, the people from having knowledge more, which is required to be there. So if that is supposed to be available in Hindi, so that would be good for them also.
Yes. या आई थिंक
जी
मेरे हिसाब से और कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं बचे होंगे आपके पास.
बेसिकली सारे स्लाइड हैं जिसको हमारे स्पेशल गेस्ट क्लियर कर ही लिया है.
If there are any question, Amit ji, you can approach to me. No issue. We'll reply later on.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to conclude this session. I want to thank Payal and Rahul ji and Ankit sir that they made this session very full for all the viewers and all the students who joined this session. I also want to thank all the students and readers of our magazine and all of the viewers who joined this session. I think they got what they were wanting from this session. So thank you all. Thank you Ankit ji, thank you Raghul ji, thank you Payal. अगर आप लोगों के पास कोई भी सवाल है पूछने के लिए तो हमारी lowexamtimes@gmail.com पे आप लोग मेल करके हमें पूछ सकते हैं. हमारा फेसबुक है, पेज है लो एग्जाम टाइम्स के नाम से, यूट्यूब चैनल भी है और आप लोग मुझे पर्सनली व्हाट्सएप से भी पूछ सकते हैं तो मैं आप लोगों को कनेक्ट करवा दूंगा हमारे एक्सपर्ट से. दिस वाज द फर्स्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी फ्रॉम नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रीजन. वी हैव connect whole India through this session and आने वाले दिनों में अगर आप लोग चाहेंगे तो हम लोग और भी knowledgeable प्रोग्राम कंडक्ट करेंगे. ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन हम लोगों ने एक शॉर्ट ऐसे कंपटीशन भी कराया था, शॉर्ट लीगल ऐसे कंपटीशन. I want to acknowledge the winners. I want to also announce the name of the winners of that short essay competition which was conducted during lockdown. The topic was CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act. So I want to, the first prize, the name of the first prize winner is, wait a minute. The name of the winner, third prize winner is Abhishek Rai. He is from Maharashtra. Congratulations, Abhishek. Abhishek is watching this session through Facebook. And the second prize winner is from our own town, Dibrugarh. Her name is second prize winner name is Pritisha Chaudhary from Dibrugarh, and the winner of the short essay competition is Mayuri Misra. She is from KLE Orissa. So again, I am congratulating all of them on behalf of whole Law Exam Times and Mahavir Publication team. Thank you all for joining this session. Thank you, Payal. Thank you, Ankit sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
thank
you
you.
all our viewers.
Thank you, Amit ji. Thank you, Payal ma'am. And thank you all the
you.
participants for sparing your valuable time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.